HTM on the Line, the podcast that is for HTM by HTM. I'm your host, Bryant Hawkins Sr. I personally joined the movement to bring awareness to healthcare technology management because this industry is one of the most unknown, at the same time, one of the most important industries. The healthcare technology management industry literally saves lives. I will continue to do my part by way of this podcast to bring awareness to it. Let's get to this week's episode. This week's episode will bring some spotlight to a medical equipment industry news juggernaut, MD Publishing. MD Publishing is more than just a brand, it's a movement. All of this is possible by the strong and consistent leadership of founder and president John Krieg and his phenomenal team. MD Publishing produces 3 magazines, 3 expo and conferences, weekly and monthly webinars, and many other services. We will discuss in great detail all of this and more. This week's guest is Jamie McKelvey. I think you guys are going to enjoy this episode. So without further ado, let's get into this episode with Jamie McKelvey.
Brian, I am so excited that you invited me to be on your podcast. My name is Jamie McKelvey. I am the Director of Sales for MD Publishing.
What's involved with MD Publishing?
We are a multimedia company, but most people listening to your podcast probably know us as Technician Magazine or MD Expo or Webinar Wednesday. I think those are the main components that we bring to the HTM and the biomedical industry, but we have more than that. One of my favorite things about MD Publishing is we have 3 different target audience within a healthcare facility. And for each one of them, we have worked really hard to form this community, this place that they can gather and exchange ideas. So where Technation is going to gear toward the biomed and the HTM industry with the print magazine, our webinar series, our online community, and our in-person event, MD Expo. Well, we also have that for nurses in a healthcare facility and in hospitals, or perioperative professionals. And we reach out to them on a monthly basis in the same way we do with the biomeds, but we do it through OR Today magazine and our live events tied to that, and a webinar series there, and of course an online community where they can go on a daily basis and get news. And still focusing on the healthcare facility as a whole, we've identified in the past couple of years that imaging directors and managers and even field service engineers, well, that's a demographic within the healthcare facility that has information specific to their jobs and their roles. So they're birthed ICE magazine and the ICE conference that happens each year. And of course, there's a webinar series and a online website. So Brian, as we've laughed before, MD Publishing, we do a lot. There's a lot of magazines, there's a lot of in-person conferences, and even more products to talk about as the conversation goes on today. I hope that wasn't too much of an explanation though.
How many people work for MD Publishing? Just curious.
It sounds like an army sometimes when we're having conversations, and you talk about the art department and our web team and the sales team. And of course, the recruiters and the specialists we have at HTM Jobs. It sounds really big sometimes, and we do a lot of really big things, and we're proud of that. But to be honest, there's less than 20 employees, and a lot of us wear multi hats, if you will. There are different roles that we focus on and different teams that we're a part of. But as a whole, this small company does a lot of really cool things.
So the corporate office is based in what state?
In Nashville, Tennessee. I guess to be specific, I should say Brentwood, but Nashville area.
Okay, great. Now, I noticed on the website that there was also a second office. Is that the case?
That's where I am. It's the Atlanta office, I guess is what we would deem ourselves. But specifically, we're in the Peachtree City, Tyrone area, about 20 miles south of Hartsfield Airport. That's where I am.
Okay, great. Now, I noticed you mentioned magazines, webinars, conferences. So we're going to kind of break this conversation into a couple of pieces. We're going to start off with magazines first. Now, I was
Good deal.
familiar with Tech Nation, and you mentioned ICE and OR Today. Now, there was this magazine. I know I get a lot of emails about Buyer's Guide. What does that
Yes.
entails?
I love that you brought that up. That's one more thing that we do. It stemmed from, we'll kind of do a backstory here for a moment. MD Publishing started over 25, 26 years ago. John Krieg is the president and founder. And when he started the company, there was one magazine, and it was Medical Dealer. Medical Dealer was in print for, oh, shame on me that I couldn't tell you the number of years, but up until 2015. And it was our flagship. It reached out to a medical surgical component, an imaging component, and a biomed component. So I guess you can see where we are now. Those three different components spun off into individual communities. So Medical Dealer, that was an all-encompassing magazine, became three different magazines. But maybe I should say, in honor of Medical Dealer, we still keep that Buyer's Guide in print. And it is an annual publication that goes to over 30,000 subscribers in the medical equipment industry. And it will list hundreds of companies, not only alphabetically, but it's going to have an index that's broken up by categories. So if you're looking for someone that does CMMS, you flip to that section, you'll see a couple of companies listed. Or if you're looking at a company that does infusion pumps, then you flip to that portion of the index. And of course, there's an online directory as well. So Buyer's Guide would go out to the Tech Nation readers, which, Brian, I'm sure that's why it gets to you every January. But the OR Today and the ICE readers will see it too.
Yes. Now, let's go into OR Today. What's this magazine about?
Well, like I said, it goes to nurses and perioperative professionals, and it's going to touch on pertinent topics and information that is relatable to nurses. I know they've had some really big news recently. Georgia, the state that I am in, our governors recently signed a bill into law that is going to require OR and surgical settings to be smoke-free now. This is something that OR Today magazine is covering, and there's far better details than I could go from committed to memory. So I'll certainly send you to the website, ortoday.com, to find that news item. But, Brian, one of my favorite things about this magazine is when I pick it up, yes, it is geared to nurses, which is going to be a more feminine audience and nature. But it has this lifestyle feel that is really cool for this readership. So not only are you getting industry news that you need to know to do your job as well as you can on a daily basis, but it's broken up into in the OR and out of the OR. So it gives this lifestyle feel. And the section out of the OR, there's recommendations for recipes and how to eat better and how to de-stress. And of course, there's some advertisers in there that do accessories like shoes that are better for nurses, or if you're on your feet, and Fitbit apps that are really cool and help you can track your steps. So I think that's why it's so successful with the readership that's in place there. Have you ever seen a copy?
I'm ashamed to say no, but I meet with my OR director at the hospital. We meet once a month, but this is going to be at the top of my list when I meet with her, and I will share this interesting magazine with her.
I love that. I'll send you some copies so you can gift them to her with the subscription. It'll be awesome.
ICE, Imaging Community Exchange magazine. What's the background on that?
I love the way you said it. It almost feels like every time I say ICE, I fight not to sing Vanilla Ice's song, but the way that you break it down in cadence is pretty cool. ICE is our newest magazine. It has been in print since approximately 2017, has 7,000 readers on a monthly basis, but it is written directly for the imaging director and manager in mind. But it also has some crossover readership with technician. So you'll find some content that's geared to either biomed engineers that are also working on imaging equipment, or for field service engineers that are focused specifically on imaging modalities. And I love this magazine. It too has a totally different feel than if you pick up one of the sister publications, OR Today or Technation. The layout's different, the content's different. We take it a step further than just imaging news and third party and companies that can provide parts and service and for those modalities, but we're going to focus on emotional intelligence and succession planning and capital planning and coding and billing. So it's everything that that director for the imaging department's going to have to think about on a daily basis. And we back it all up with the conference that we do once a year, where you get that same kind of education over a 2-3 day period.
Now, we get into the one that I'm kind of familiar with, Technation. What's the background on Technation for what few biomeds who may not know?
Well, I hope all biomeds know about Technation, but I know we still have some work to do there. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't my favorite. Technation is where I've always kind of felt more at home with the readership and the advertisers that support that magazine and conference. We lovingly call Technation the Bible for biomeds because we write it with the biomed in mind. It's what news is in your industry and what tools can you use and what career events are coming up and how can you get your CE credits and what are other people, what are your peers doing in the industry? And yeah, all of that is really important, but we try to package it in a way that it's fun and it's approachable and it makes biomeds feel like they have a place to belong and be a community, because at the end of the day, that's what we're working for.
Great. Now, you mentioned how you put different topics into the magazine. If it's possible, can you break it down? Let's take Technation. I know it probably takes your company a month or two to put out one article. I know you don't put it out every month. You start on it. So what's the birthing, say, let's look at June's issue. When would you start working on June edition of Technation?
Far before June. We've already sent June to print, and we are about to wrap up and send our July issue to print in the next week and a half. So yeah, I think that's one of the things most readers or maybe sometimes advertisers don't know, that we're always working so far in advance to make print dates so you get your magazine in the right month, because there's nothing like the June issue showing up the last week of June, then something went wrong. So I would say for a magazine, we're already working loosely on our September issue from an editorial standpoint. We've had some of the editorial that's going to be in that magazine slated for months now, and our editorial team has reached out either by phone or via email to start some form of interview process to collect content to craft into editorial. And then the sales team will step in about a month leading up to deadline, because then it's time for us to get our ad copy in from our clients, and any sponsored content in, we need to get that in and laid out. So it's an ongoing process, but it's fun.
Now, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here also. In review, let's take, for example, I'm going to apply this question to each magazine. Technation. Okay. What is the circulation of Technation, would you say?
Approximately 12,000 on a monthly basis, and that's domestic to the U.S.
And the target audience for Technation?
Biomeds, HTM professionals.
Okay. OR Today, what is the circulation?
I would say approximately 9,000. That again, domestic, everything we do is domestic to the US, and that target audience is going to be nurses and perioperative professionals.
Yeah, you just catch on. I don't have to ask you. Ice imaging. What's the circulation?
ICE is growing. I would tell you when we put out our media guides last year, it was probably at about 7,000, but we've had some really strong conferences under our belt as things starting to open up some more, and the magazine readership is growing. So I'd say easily 8, maybe 9,000 readers get that magazine on a monthly basis at this point. Again, it's that readership's a little divided. So while the bulk of it is going to be imaging directors and administration, there's also a good section that would be service engineers.
And buyer's guide.
Buyer's guide goes to everybody. If you subscribe to OR Today, ICE, or Tech Nation, you're going to get a copy of Buyer's Guide.
Webinar Wednesday. I get emails about Webinar Wednesday. Tell me about tell me what type of webinars do y'all have first?
Well, the Webinar Wednesday series is specific for our Tech Nation community. So most of the webinars you're going to find on our weekly calendar are going to talk about topics, hot topics, or some current pain points in the industry and some solution providers that are out there for you to learn more about. It's going to be everything from cybersecurity, some case studies on implementation of CMMS systems. I know RTI Group did one this past yesterday. And that was a really cool one about all of the tools that a biomed would need. And it was really cool the way they broke it down with the graphics and different examples talking about what the test equipment does and how it measures currents. And I don't want to go much further than that. I'll get over my head. But the reviews that I read this morning and the reports that we were putting together for the articles you'll see in an upcoming issue, biomeds loved it. It was a great way to get a sample of various types of test equipment that they might not know was available to them. Every magazine has a webinar series. So where Webinar Wednesday supports Tech Nation, OR Today webinars would support that readership, and ICE webinars also started in 2020 for our ICE readers. My favorite thing are the URLs, webinarwednesday.live. It's so easy to remember if you're in the HTM industry that's one easy, quick place to go to and get CE credits if you're up for recertification or if you're just looking to learn on various topics. And if you want to check out the OR Today series, then that's ortodaywebinars.live. And ICE webinars are icewebinars.live. You see what we did there? It's
yes. That's right there. Let me ask you, now, do y'all put these webinars out strategically?
Yeah, Webinar Wednesday is going to happen at this point every Wednesday in the year. I think last year we did 43 Wednesdays. This year, we're on track to do equal, if not more. And the contents are always for the biomed world. It's Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Then for our OR Today webinar series, that's on Thursday. It's on a monthly basis. And the ICE webinars are on a monthly basis, and they happen on Tuesdays at 2. So some weeks we're doing a lot of webinars, but every week we're doing a webinar.
HTM jobs. What's that about?
Yes, I love this so much. It's one of our new resources that MD Publishing has, and the team that works on it is so fun and energetic. And what they're doing is really cool for the HTM and the biomedical industry. I know we talk about in every conference we have and every magazine, there's always some mention of the number of biomeds and professionals that are leaving this industry and how there's a gap and need for more talent to come in. Well, HTM Jobs is a resource to help with that. Not only is there a need for education of this industry to high school and college students and people in similar career paths that could easily come over to this industry, but HTM Jobs is a way for them to go and find jobs specific to this career path. You could find everything from BMET 1 to directors and managers, and they have job positions across the country. So it doesn't matter where you're looking or if you're looking to relocate with a position. And one of my favorite things, they even have some internships that are posted up there, a good first step into this career. So it's really exciting to watch this one grow.
Conferences. I know you have multiple conferences, but let's start with OR Today.
Good deal. Well, OR Today has done something really neat this year and last year in 2021. We have partnered with the Georgia Council for Perioperative Registered Nurses, and it is a really fun group of women, some firecrackers that I got to meet last year. And their association partnered with OR Today to start doing live conferences. This was a way for that association to start meeting again in person and to have these fun events while they're getting education and CE credits. It happened last year in September at the Renaissance Waverly in Atlanta, Georgia. And this year it is slated for October 21st and 22nd at the Evergreen Marriott at the Stone Mountain Park near Atlanta, Georgia. So it's intimate by design. It was so fun to be a part of last year to learn about this sector of healthcare that I don't typically have a lot of exposure to, since I focus mainly on technation and ICE, to learn about their critical pain points and the topics that are important to them and how passionate these people are to create change within the nursing career was really exciting to be a part of. I hope that I get to attend the.
Now, ICE Imaging Community Exchange. I never realized that that's what ICE stood for.
Well, we try to trick you because sometimes, it's Imaging Community and Exchange for the magazine. But if we're going to talk conference, then that's Imaging Conference and Expo, also ICE.
Yes. So let's talk about ICE Expo.
Awesome. You've been to an ICE?
Yes, I have. I went to the one in Fort Lauderdale. It was awesome.
Oh, good. Yes. That was a beautiful location. Well, I'm excited about the one coming up in February. I know we announced it a little earlier off of the heels of our 2022 ICE conference that was in Napa, California. When we got home from there, we quickly announced that in February 17 through 19 of 2023, we'll be in Nashville, Tennessee with the ICE conference. So I'm confident this one's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Now, MD Expo. I mean, this is my favorite. Tell us about the MD Expo, which everyone should know already, but just tell us about it.
I hope everybody knows. I hope everybody hears about it in the industry, because there are a lot of really important, cool events that happen in the biomed and the HTM space. I'm excited that our team's getting ready to head over to the Amy Exchange in a week in San Antonio, Texas. But the MD Expo is so fun, I think, is the best word that I would use. It is a fun way to get your education, and it's a fun way to learn about new products and technologies in the industry. And it's a fun way to get to know other people, your industry peers, and hear about what's important to them and what they're doing at their facilities. Brian, I feel confident you're going to back me up on this one. Like, the MD Expo is typically a really good time.
Great time. You're being bashful. But I can admit one thing you mentioned The MD Expo, it's like everyone there is like they treat you like a family. I'll say that. They may not even know you, honestly, but they'll talk to you and everybody is I remember the first one I went to, I met someone, it was their first time also. So we kind of walked around the expo together. And now we're good friends.
I love that. It really is the feeling that we're trying to create, and we, the staff, say that to us, MD Expo is almost a family reunion because there are equal hugs as you're all arriving and greeting and checking in at the registration desk, or as you're setting up your booth in the exhibit hall and somebody else comes in. There's probably equal, if not more, hugs than handshakes, and it's the part of MD Expo that I think is so relaxing and approachable for everyone. Every biomed level has a home at MD Expo. Students have a home at MD Expo, and we want everyone to feel welcome. The education is something that we take really seriously. We start working the day the last conference wraps. Kristen Lavoie worked diligently to make sure that she's finding education that meets the standard of the caliber that we want to provide the industry, and that's covering the topics that the industry needs to know and seems to want more information on. It's a labor of love that we're already working on 2023, even though we've got the conference coming up in October in Southern California in Temecula
Oh,
for the MD
wow.
Expo SoCal.
Yeah, Kristen works extremely hard.
And she's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I love Kristen. I know you have a large team. I would love for you to give them a shout out because I know a bunch of them, but I probably would leave some of the girls off. And Guy, I can't forget the one guy. But just give them a shout out so they can know that they are appreciated. And I can mention a few. Let me go off the brain. See, Kristen Lavoie, she's awesome. John Krieg's awesome. Of course, you. John,
Nice.
KK,
Yes.
Kennedy Krieg, Superstar, Smith, Emily, oh man, Highs.
Good job.
I remember because I always put it with Wise.
Oh,
Megan, now she might beat me up. I mean, does her last name change? Or is it
well, Megan got married. So she
okay?
came into the industry as Megan Cabot, but she is Megan Strand.
Yes. And then you have oh man, the HTM girls.
Love
Kristen
it.
and Sydney, I
That's right.
think.
Kristen Register and Sydney Krieg.
That's all I know now. You gotta help me
Well,
out with
you
the
did a
rest.
really good job because those are the people that you're typically going to see at MD Expo. That's the staff, the those of us that travel to most of the conferences. So I'll round out the team. There is Joanna. She's new. She's in our Georgia office, and she's the administrative assistant. So if you call our 800 number, you'll hear her sweet little voice pick up to help you out. And Cindy Galindo is our web developer. If you've ever had web work or email marketing or any questions digitally, Cindy is our go to. Callie Dixon just joined the team last week. She is training to be our webinar coordinator. So when you tune into any of our webinar series, you're going to hear her voice on the line. You mentioned Kennedy, who does our digital marketing and social media and helps us at the shows and focuses on video. But our art team is also very critical in everything we do, from the magazine that you receive to the collateral and the items that you see at the conferences. So Carly is our senior design manager, and Taylor Powers is on the team, as well as Cameron Johnson. And then Diane, I love her. She is a hoot. She is our controller, our accountant. She's the one that sends the invoices and helps all of our advertisers. And I know you mentioned John Wallace, the editor. He is the one that oversees the editorial team. I did not forget one of my favorite teams, and just hold them till the end because, you know, we talked about Tech Nation, we talked about ICE, we talked about OR today, but something we haven't talked about yet is MedWrench, and Star Smith is the new account executive there. And a couple of the other names that we've mentioned also work on this team. And MedWrench is one of the industry's resources to find manuals that are needed, and they use live Q&A forums to get questions and answers from your peers in the industry. And there's this really cool service directory that I hope more people know about. It's a place where you can go and find companies that would give parts or service on specific modalities or types of equipment that you're working on. They can give you details right there about that company, what type of service they can provide, and contact information for you to reach out and get someone to reach out to you in turn. So I think that's a great resource. And I'm sure everybody knows Benzie, the little Lego mascot that you see on a lot of their marketing.
I don't know how I left MedFrench out because they're doing the scavenger hunt.
Yes, at Amy. I hope that you participate. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, yes. So if you had to sum up MD Publishing, how would you sum it up?
For me personally, it always comes down to the word family, because yes, it's my work family. It's where I have my home to do what I get excited about doing on a daily basis. But I think that word family ties into a lot of the work that we do in each specific vertical that we focus on. Tech Nation is very much a family feel in that publication. It's a community. It's a place for these biomeds and HTM professionals to feel like rock stars and have content specifically for them at their fingertips. You come to MD Expo, Brent, we both talked about it, how the communal feel and how everyone's hugging and hanging out and having a good time. That's that family atmosphere. And it spills over to both as well with OR Today and ICE. You're going to feel it at the conference. You're going to see it in the magazines, because it's really what John Krieg instilled in all of his employees, to create the community, to bring the reader, to bring the advertiser together, to help them make that match and to have fun while you're doing it.
Yes, and family is something that's not a word you just throw around. So
Right.
For you to accomplish that type of feeling with people, that shows the type of relationship you have among each other.
Right.
Because if you guys didn't display that type of family love, then it wouldn't exude out to everyone else. So it's kudos to the effort you put into those shows. And I know it's hard work, because it's hard work and I'm not even doing the work, and I just look at you guys.
You see us running around all day. That's one of the things that is sometimes the hardest, but also rewarding, is working 6 a.m. until maybe 11 midnight sometimes with the events that we do for the different groups at the events. But it's a good time.
Yeah, I don't think people really understand or see the work y'all put in setting up a show. Maybe I should do something, a special article on that, a
I would
video
have to
or something.
do a stop motion video or a time lapse video,
Yes.
put a camera somewhere. That'd be really cool. We should do that.
Because I was leaving, I think it was Atlanta, and you was pushing a flat. I think it was you and Emily. It was loading up the back of one of y'all trucks. I'm like, when do they stop working? This was
We never stop working.
I was like, everybody's going home the next day, and y'all still working. Now, you did mention that y'all do your own artwork in-house too for the shows?
We do. The art
wow.
team that we have is amazing. I call them magicians all the time, because I've had advertisers. I guess I should back up. One of the services we offer all of our advertisers is complimentary ad design, whether it's a print ad or a banner or an HTML file for email. We'll help you create it if you need it, because some companies we work with, they don't have a contracted marketing team or consultant on payroll, or someone that does design. And they're amazing, because I've seen people doodle stick figures and give them a tagline, and they come out with really cool art and the print ads for the magazine. But anything that you see at the conference, short of the balloon art, I think MD Expo has become known for balloon arches and legs. I see it in everybody's photos on social media.
So it's orange and white, your company color, or That's just
Technation is Technation Orange. Ice is Ice Blue, and OR Today has green. You know, Brent, I guess I never really thought about it a lot because MedRench has a specific green and
mhm.
Webinar Wednesday has the red. So I guess every product has a color.
Wow. So y'all also offer from listening, you offer advertising services.
Yes.
I didn't think about that when I thought about all of the things you offer. So that's
Yeah.
pretty good for probably the small biomed companies who, like you said, may not have the overhead to have a department like that.
Absolutely. And the team is very attentive to listen to what the advertiser's idea is to kind of get a really good understanding of it, put a couple of concepts in front of them and work through a proof process. One of the things I was probably most surprised about, I've always been in media sales. So when I came to the magazine world and started working for MD Publishing, I was a little shocked that this art team provided this complimentary service. And then when your ad's approved, they send you a copy of it just in case you're advertising anywhere else in the industry. They want to help you with your branding effort. So it's really helping the company itself, not just focused on the content that we're going to have in our magazine. I love that part.
Do this too. Okay, Jamie, I enjoyed speaking with you. Now, do you have any secrets you might want to share with us? Since you mentioned how y'all do things months in advance, you don't have to if you don't, but if there's something you might want to share, we'll be glad to hear it.
I love it. Breaking news, you want an exclusive? I guess there's two things that we could talk about. There's one new editorial feature that we're working on for Tech Nation magazine. It is slated for our August issue, and it is called 40 Under 40. And it is driven by our YP of MD, our young professionals of MD Publishing and MD Expo. That is a fun networking group for anyone that's the age of 40 or younger. If you come to some of these industry conferences, it could be a little overwhelming and intimidating that a lot of the older professionals have been in the industry with the experience and they know lots of people in their network. So these YPs have formed together to start their own networking group to help foster their sense of community and camaraderie and get to know each other. So they know another face when they walk into a conference. The 40 Under 40 is really cool. And one of our leaders in the YP group, Megan Cabot Strand, is heading this up. And there will be 40 professionals under the age of 40 that we're going to highlight soon. Is that a pretty good exclusive, or do you want another one?
You have more info, you said?
I do. If you go to mdexposhow.com, because you want to register, get more information about the upcoming MD Expo SoCal, that's October 11 through 13. And if you went to the upcoming events tab on that page, then you'd see some pretty cool information about our conferences next year. Our spring MD Expo in April 2023 is going back to the Woodlands Waterway Marriott Hotel in the Woodlands, Texas. That's right outside of Houston. I don't know, Brian, did you go to that MD Expo? We've been to this location a couple of years ago.
Nope, I didn't go to that.
Well, make sure to save the dates. It's October or April 11 through 13 because that's an awesome location. We had a really good time at that facility. And then fall 2023, we're going to Orlando, Florida, October 29 through 31, through our partnership with FBS. Every 18 months, we come down to their state and they support us and we support them. It's been a long going partnership. And we're going to a new location there that I don't know this hotel, but it's the Caribe Royal in Orlando. They're undergoing some renovation. It's going to be done by the conference. And from what I've seen, it's a pretty amazing location, but I am a huge Orlando fan and a Disney girl at heart. So it's not hard to twist my arm to get me there.
Jamie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing what MD Publishing is contributing to the HTM industry. More importantly, though, I thank you for your friendship and the genuine spirit you display toward everyone you meet. At the end of each podcast, I always leave a quote. Being successful doesn't necessarily make you great. What makes you great is when you reach back and help somebody else become great. Thank you guys so much for being part of HTM on the Line podcast. We're trying to grow awareness to the HTM industry. You can do your part by sharing this podcast on all your social media outlets. Till next time, be safe out there.